Meeting of the Lake County Board of Commissioners. Would all those who are willing and able please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision either by fear or by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority, and may we use our directives for the common good and for thy honor and glory. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler.
Here.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Present.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Here. Very good. This brings us to our first public comment portion. I do believe we have a couple of special certificates here. Mark, do you want to come up and kind of lead us into this discussion?
Sure.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here today to recognize two Buildings and Grounds employees and commend them on their actions last week where there was a car that was on fire at the lower juvenile parking lot. They grabbed the fire extinguisher from their county vehicle and extinguished the fire. So we're here today to commend my assistant, Lou Hall, and our maintenance tech, Brian Stark. Thanks.
Oh, very good. Well, gentlemen, come on up. You want to kind of give us a little bit of the Reader's Digest here? Notice they're not wearing capes, so that doesn't make them superheroes here.
So Brian's not going to talk.
He's the smart one. Got it? Okay.
I don't want to
That's
tell
management material there, just so you know.
Luckily, I don't think we have the video because the whole story of me trying to run with the fire extinguisher and then having to pass it to Brian like a really old man relay race wasn't the greatest. But it got put out, and luckily before it caught onto any other cars. But it's a good example, I think, for us to remember that everybody who works for the county, we're ultimately public servants, and there's a lot of responsibility in that. But I'm very proud of it, and I think Brian is too, and we all should be. So
very good. And from our perspective, see something, do something. Yeah. That carry it out, live it.
Yeah. Be aware and take care of it. On a public side, personal note, yesterday in Wickliffe was Megan Wood Day. And I'm not going to get into it, but for my beautiful wife, Sue, and my kids, Timmy and Brian, happy Megan Wood Day. So.
Well said, sir. I believe, Commissioner Tyler, you have something you want to add, sir?
I do. Congratulations to you both. Nice job. It's one thing to rely on your training, but sometimes instinct takes over. And you guys ran towards danger. Congratulations.
Very good. And Commissioner Plechnik, I believe you have a couple of certificates for him.
Mr. President, before the formal presentation, I just want to say that in particular I've gotten to know Lou as he basically fixes everything that goes wrong in the building, and in addition to the incredible hard work that the entire Buildings and Grounds staff gives to the county each and every day to keep us functioning, it's just reassuring to know that they care so much about the public and the folks who work in this building, that they're willing to step up and take care of an emergency. Not everyone is, and it's not part of their job description. They're not firefighters, but nonetheless, they genuinely care about each and every one of us, which is why they put such attention to detail and maintaining and repairing everything to keep it safe. Nobody cares until someone gets hurt, and these folks don't just keep everything safe. We've learned that they also keep everyone safe too. So we have great thanks to Lou Hull and Brian Stark. And on behalf of the county, the three commissioners want to honor both Lou Hull and Brian Stark for noticing a vehicle on fire in the Lake County Juvenile Court lower parking lot, for responding quickly as they retrieved fire extinguishers from county vehicles to carefully put out the fire. We commend Lou, we commend Brian for their selflessness and their actions that embody phenomenal and noteworthy personal character and the dedication that each of them has for the citizens of Lake County. We extend our biggest thanks for their heroic efforts in assisting in this very real emergency. Congratulations, and we certainly invite you to receive your certificates.
It's not official until the photos are done, so.
Brian, you may be able to avoid speaking, but you can't avoid getting one of those.
There we go.
A little bit. Big smiles.
One more.
Uh-oh.
You're actually here.
Okay. Count of three, say lose my hero. 1, 2, 3. I didn't hear anything, but I took the picture.
We were thinking of it.
You guys are such good guys. Thank you.
Yay, all is well.
So is that going to be the headline in the News Herald? Lou is my hero? By chat?
Okay, continuing on. Do we have anyone wishing to comment on this public comment portion? Anyone at all? All right, moving on to our first agenda item. Madam Clerk?
And special resolutions, resolution in support of Operation Greenlight for veterans in Lake County, Ohio.
Move to approve.
Second.
And discussion, Commissioner Pleshtek.
Mr. President, if I may, I'd like to read the full resolution because it's so important that the Lake County Board of Commissioners recognize and remember our veterans in support of Operation Greenlight. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners hereby finds and determines that all formal actions relative to the adoption of this resolution were taken in an open meeting of this Board of County Commissioners, and that all the deliberations of the Board were taken in meetings open to the public. Whereas the residents of Lake County, Ohio have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens and Lake County, Ohio seeks to honor these individuals who have paid the high price for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, veterans of foreign wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as county veteran service officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members access more than $52 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. And whereas studies indicate that 44 to 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life. Active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during their first year after military service. And whereas Lake County, Ohio appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners in and for Lake County, Ohio, hereby declare this resolution with designation as a green light for Veterans County, and hereby declares the month of October through Veterans Day, November 11th, 2022, a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifice of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Be it further resolved that in observance of Operation Greenlight, Lake County, Ohio encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying a green light in a window of their place of business or residence.
Very good, and I believe John, Becky, you want to add? Come on up.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. Becky Lynch, Lake County Recorder. your green lights there are compliments of the Operation Green Light. I'm here with John Wormley, our Executive Director of our Veteran Services Department, and he has a few comments for us.
Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Becky. I just wanted to say that we really appreciate the efforts of Recorder Lynch in getting this done right here in Lake County, this national initiative. And I know that there are some people in the Commissioner's office and the Administrator's office that assisted getting the courthouse lit up and the terminal tower in Cuyahoga County also. It's a great testament to the hard work of Lake County's employees and elected officials. Echoing what Lou Hall said about serving the people, servants of the people, we take great pride in that in the Lake County Veteran Service Center. We have, according to the VA, if you listen to their statistics, we have over 14,000 veterans in Lake County. I disagree with that. I think we have many more. They do an analysis every couple of years. I would like to state also that we're not the VA, we're not the Department of Veterans Affairs. We fight the Department of Veterans Affairs. Last year in 2021, we were, according to the VA, again, if you believe their statistics, 84% of the claims that are filed with the Department of Veterans Affairs on veterans' behalf are more approved and approved at higher amounts if they use a trained veteran service officer. Our officers are accredited and certified. They're highly trained professionals. They go to a lot of education, as Mr. Matus can attest, paying the bills. But last year in 2021, the VA says that we assisted with bringing in almost $66 million to the Veterans Independence in Lake County. That's a huge amount. There was an additional $76 million brought into the county for healthcare services. These are very large amounts. When I started in this position more than 20 some years ago, we brought in $6 million total. And it was just me. I was the only service officer. We now have 6 service officers. So this is a wonderful opportunity for the citizens of Lake County to recognize veterans on Veterans Day and the days before and every day. There's only nationwide, again, if you believe federal statistics, 2+% of the population serves their country in uniform, military uniform. In Lake County, because we're better citizens, more than 5% of our citizens have served in the military. But it's the other 96 to 98% that I'd like to address now. If this brings awareness to that other 95, let's say, percent, that if you see a veteran in need, or even just see a veteran wearing a cover, say thank you, welcome home, and say go to the Veteran Service Center to see what benefits you may be entitled to receive. It's so important. If a veteran walks by a green light, if they're destitute, in distress, or need help, they probably aren't watching this on video. They probably aren't reading the newspapers. They probably don't know what it means. So if you see a veteran, tell them, hey, did you go to the Veteran Service Center? It's a great place to start. We work with Recorder Lynch's staff on a regular basis with discharges. They're fabulous. In fact, we work with so many people in this room, in this office, and I can attest that Lake County has great employees. I know we've got people from the Auditor's Office here today, Department of Jobs and Family Services, the IT department, the Treasurer's Office. Everybody is just fabulous in Lake County, and we really appreciate their support. I won't say we couldn't do it without them, but they certainly make it easier on us. So I'd like to thank Becky for all her hard work in getting this done. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, anything you want to add?
I'd like to add John's. I'd like to add upon John's comments. Becky, thanks for bringing this forward. Thank you and your staff for spearheading this effort. It's fantastic. We all support this. And John, thank you for all you do. Our sit down last week was fantastic, learning all that your team does for all the veterans of Lake County. It's amazing. So thank you. Kudos to all. Keep doing what you're doing. And if this contacts any other veterans and directs them your way, good for us for bringing it to light. So thank you.
Mr. President.
Sir.
I can't adequately second the thanks to Recorder Lynch for taking the time to make this a priority for Lake County, because we all say thank you to veterans, but we don't prioritize it enough. it's not top of mind enough. We're grateful, but we need to be grateful every moment of every day. And your work for Operation Greenlight and highlighting this important cause has made a big difference already. Like Mark, I had the opportunity to visit Lake County Veterans Services, and the outstanding job that John and his colleagues are doing is just, it's unbelievable. The only real challenge for that office is making sure that people know it exists. Too many veterans are off the grid, aren't registered. We don't know about their service and their needs. And I take it as a personal challenge to let folks know that 100% of the veteran service officers and employees in our office are veterans themselves. The law doesn't require that, but John has made that a priority because he knows that no one knows the needs and challenges of a veteran better than one of their brothers or sisters. So I think we have an extraordinary veteran service office, and we need to use Operation Greenlight to let people know about the resources you provide. I would just add one more specific thanks, because you had mentioned the incredible achievement of not just lighting our historic courthouse, which I think is phenomenal for Lake County and for Paynesville, but to have the Terminal Tower in Cleveland lit. That's a historic moment, and we thank Recorder Lynch first. But second, I want to say that our clerk, Jennifer Bell, personally reached out to make that possible, and she was so excited. I remember her just telling me, we're making the tower green, I did it. So excited, and I know that we never publicly talk about the hard work of our clerks, but this is just one of myriad examples of how behind the scenes they've worked to benefit our community, and I share your excitement, Jen, to see the Terminal Tower go green.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Jen.
Very good. Well, again, it's all about service and sacrifice. For that, we say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah. Picture?
All right.
Sir?
Sir? Oh, I was going to say, do you want to just take a vote here?
Oh.
Madam Clerk? It'll be
Commissioner
official.
Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. And now it's the official when we get the picture. There you go.
Stay behind me.
Mr. President.
Sir. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're all by yourself.
He's used to it.
I think you're in the middle, John.
There you go. There you go. Middle.
Yeah, just done.
Oh. I was going to say wrong, John.
Too,
I was gonna say,
too
wait,
many
what?
jobs.
Oh, we need to go a little this way, Becky.
There you go.
Your center stage.
Yes, we have to move to the right.
Okay, no witty intro this time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
John's my hero.
If I'm not mistaken, I think this is for your office, and I think that's for your office.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
John again.
Appreciate it.
John, thank you.
Appreciate Okay, very good. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
In the Utilities Department, resolution increasing appropriations and transferring funds within the Lake County Department of Utilities Solid Waste Operating Fund and Project Fund 597, Solid Waste Facility Perimeter Fence Project 444-L.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Randy, anything you want to add to that other than the obvious?
There's not much to add. It's just a fence around the perimeter of the landfill.
There you go. Gentlemen, anything else? Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations within the Lake County Department of Utilities, Sewer, and Solid Waste Operating Funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution certifying unpaid water and sewer sums and administrative charges to the Lake County Auditor.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In Job and Family Services Department, resolution approving Lake County Department of Job and Family Services Vouchers, date of warrant November 10th, 2022, in the amount of $97,627.69.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution approving adoption and implementation of the updated multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Jason, anything you want to add to that, sir?
Yes, good morning, Commissioner. Director Busher is on a well-deserved vacation this week, but he and his team have been working on this 5-year hazard mitigation plan beginning in 2000 throughout COVID. The plan has been sent to Columbus and has been officially adopted and will be formally adopted when the county here this morning and all 23 political subdivisions adopt the same over the next, I believe we gave them about 30 days. So this is a 5-year planning document, and it is in front of you, ready to be approved today.
Very good. Gentlemen, anything else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing execution of memorandums of understanding between the Lake County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Lake County Stormwater Management Department and the City of Kirtland for various stormwater projects within the city.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Tim, anything you want to add, or is it pretty straightforward?
It's pretty straightforward, Commissioner. I just want to mention that the two memorandums of understanding are for the Rockwood Drive Stormwater Detention Basin, and this is going to be a detention basin built within the public right-of-way of the cul-de-sac. And the other memorandum is for Fox Hill drainage improvements, and that's simply going to be some linear grading, regrading the ditches, and replacing drive culverts.
And this will address some spot issues.
Some body issues, yep.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, if there's nothing further, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution establishing the Lake County employee share of the monthly premium for medical and dental insurance coverage effective January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution establishing the monthly premiums for medical and dental insurance coverage for sub-government entities participating in the county employee health plans effective January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $534,518.62.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $292,185.38.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations for various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution transferring appropriations within various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler,
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. Okay, moving on to our departmental reports portion of our meeting, utilities.
Thank you, Commissioner. Last week we held our public hearing for Kirtland Old Town sanitary sewer improvement. Thus far, we have received only 2 comments, written comments, since the hearing. Residents have, or property owners have until 4:30 today for that. Following that, I will provide a recommendation next week based on those comments to proceed or not to proceed with the project, and then that resolution will be presented in the next couple of weeks to the commissioners.
Very good. And just a quick question. So the formal hearing that we had, I would characterize it as it went well, and it was consistent, I understand, with how the more informal public hearings went, the discussions, pretty consistent?
It was, yeah. That we held those information meetings prior to, very informal, like you said, to have a discussion to try to answer questions prior to actually proceeding to the public hearing. So hopefully by that time, questions are answered and people have an opportunity to comment. But ideally, as you saw on Thursday, most of the questions were already answered previously over the past year or so.
Okay. And we're
Yes,
just,
Randy, nice job last week at the public hearing. You know, we've gone on that path before down in Kirtland with the original project. I think all those informational meetings really helped out, paved the way. I thought this meeting was pretty uneventful, but still was good to get that information out and have as required to have their formal meeting. So nice job.
Thank you.
very good. Thank you. All right, Job and Family Services.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner. As you're aware, on October 20th, the Board of Commissioners passed a resolution declaring November as National Adoption Month. And I wanted to express my gratitude today for Lake County Probate Court Judge Mark Bartolotta. On Monday, November 7th, he and his staff members are going to be holding a special Adoption Day event for our agency, and he is going to be presiding over 3 adoptions for children in our permanent custody. So again, appreciate the support of all of the elected officials in Lake County who recognize this important day and our adoptive parents, and to support the need for children to have forever loving, caring families. Additionally, as promised, I wanted to make a special announcement for the individuals who do receive assistance from our agency, especially including their Medicaid benefits. There will be changes coming to the Medicaid program once the public health emergency ends. So I wanted to send a reminder to those individuals who may be watching, who may receive public assistance benefits, to please update their contact information with our agency. They could do that by coming into the agency. They could do that by calling 1-800-324-8680, and they could also log on to benefits.ohio.gov. I can't express how important it is that we have updated contact information for those individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, moving on. County Administrator.
Good morning once again. Just a brief update. We've been working through ARPA projects for the better part of this past year. Just one project in particular, the East Lake Stadium upgrades that the commissioners approved. I believe that was in April or May. I've been attending the weekly construction meetings with engineering firms, the contractors, city officials, including Mayor Morley. That project has started, and the original budget that was submitted is in line with the total awards from the commissioners, about $3.4 million. I saw the proposed guaranteed maximum price yesterday, so it's always good news, even though we're not managing the project but financing the project via ARPA, to see the initial numbers in line with the previous estimates and the timeline tracking for opening day in 2023. So that's good news as far as ARPA. I'm also working on a handful of other ARPA projects, including recreation, utilities, and social services. Working through the eligibility process, I'll be bringing those forth hopefully in the next 15 to 30 days for commissioners' consideration. Once again, as you know, we have through December of 2024 to obligate these funds with an expenditure deadline of December of 2026, and I think we're tracking quite well on that. Secondly, the Sheriff's Range Project, another public safety commitment the board has made in collaboration with Sheriff Leon Bruno. Construction is underway. I was out there earlier this week. Looks like the foundation is in. They got some stick framing up, all the rough plumbing. We're moving along. So I'm really excited to see how that project turns out throughout the winter with a ribbon cutting this spring. And just a friendly reminder, we'll also have a subsequent phase to that project that I'm working with the sheriff's team, notably Detective Bell, on Phase 2 and getting that designed and out to bid hopefully by the end of the year, but we'll see. So we've got current Phase 1 up and moving and Phase 2 in the planning and design phase. Any questions?
Real quick, I sat down with Nick from IT this week. I had a great meeting with him, met his team. He showed me around his office, all that he does. I had a great discussion with him, and I had a couple specific questions for him. One, it's fitting you're here today, Mike, because it involved public records request and the issue with downloaded documents that we had to review over and over and over. I now have a file reader on my computer, so those will not show up. So it'll save me a lot of time and you and your staff a lot of time in review. So it should also be on my colleagues' computers as well. So they are not internet browser activities, strictly reading files. So a small victory. So thanks, Jason.
Yeah, thank you. Good.
Yes, thank you. That pregnant pause, thank you. All right, moving on, Madam Clerk.
Yes, the next commissioners meeting is going to be on Thursday, November 10th, 2022 at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And legal.
No report, commissioners.
Thank you, sir. And do we have any old business? Moving on to the old business portion of our meeting. Any old business? Hearing none, moving on to new business. Do we have any new business? Do we have any new business? Again, hearing none. Okay, we're moving on. Second public portion. Do we have anybody wishing to speak? Anybody at all? Of course, I'm pulling Mr. Massey's leg here. Mr. Massey, please. Now, if I pull it hard enough, you're going to walk in a circle because one leg's going to be longer than the other. So, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Massey, 8196 Rainbow Drive. I'll try to be brief, but I do have several items for the Commissioners. First, there was an article in the News Herald that was really defaming the Lake County Sheriff's Department. I thought was totally unfair. And I'm saying to Sheriff Leon-Bruno, it's one of those no good deed goes unpunished type of things. There is no way Sheriff Leon-Bruno or any of his staff was doing anything that was suggested in that article. So to Sheriff Leon-Bruno, I'm sorry you had to go through that, but that's what happens when we have the free press. A few years ago, one of the first things I got involved with was a project called the Better Flip Project. I don't know if Commissioner Tyler or Commissioner Plachnik remember that project, but it was a Willowick project trying to show the homeowners in Willowick what could be done with their home. And the Lake County Port Authority was in charge of the project. They didn't have a budget, but they set the estimated cost to be $150,000, which happened to be, as I understand it, the threshold so that any organization does not have to get competitive bids. And we followed that project, quite a bit, and we reported about it, took pictures of everything that was going on. It ended up costing $299,000. My question to the commissioners: did that project actually work? The idea of trying to, improve the home so that the valuations would go up, therefore property taxes would go up. Did that project work? Do you know of anyone that looked at the Better Flip and say, I saw $299,000, spent, but nothing ever happened, or was it just wasted dollars?
So if I may, circling back, the $150,000 that you referenced is the bid limit for a port authority under state statute.
Okay, thank you.
Not for other governmental bodies. I believe other governmental bodies, is $50,000. I'll look to legal if I'm saying anything incorrect. So the other...
That's correct,
Commissioner. Okay. So the other $149,000 were overruns. And yes, I remember this well when I was shown what turned out to be a little more than a check register was handed to me when I was asking about what the budget was. So I seem to remember, that was a very interesting time.
Okay, so we're saying nothing really happened, that it was an idea that, very costly, but didn't produce anything. All right, moving on to the next item was regarding Judge Lucci and the Supreme Court ruling that he lost his temper in court and gave an extra 6 years to a defendant that did not, when the defendant did not show remorse for his actions. I did view the video, and I do not believe that Judge Lucci lost his temper. In fact, I thought he was rather measured in his response to the individual's response to the 22-year sentence that was handed out. But I do know that the Lake County prosecutor, they did file a request with the, I believe, the state Supreme Court to reassess their position in the case. And I'm just wondering, I have not heard anything reported. Has there been a ruling by the Supreme Court that they reversed their, statements that Judge Lucci lost his temper?
Fair question, legal. I believe you were involved in the preparation of that.
I'm unaware if there was a ruling. I'd have to check.
Okay.
But I can check and update the board.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. This is just an FYI for the commissioners. I do attend a lot of school board meetings, and I attended the Mentor School District financial needs that were discussed at the November 1st meeting, and just to let you know that they've got some financial difficulties looming out in the horizon, and they're going to need the renewal levy to be passed next year. Then there's a 2.5 property improvement levy they're looking at, and possibly a 5.0 operating expense levy. I did compliment their treasurer, Mr. Bill Wade, for his presentation. It was first rate, gave him an A+ in his presentation, but I just want to let you know that schools are having some difficulties, and I'm assuming with the inflationary rate that's impacting all of us, not only the individuals, but all of our public institutions are under some real attack. So there's going to be some problems down the road. Can the commissioners give us, the Lake County citizens, an update on the new Justice Center or jail or whatever it's being called these days? We have been told that the county has purchased land across the street from the existing jail, which would indicate that the request from the judges has been heard by the commissioners, and so we're going to make the jail closer to the courthouse. And has the size and the services changed? Has there been any change in what has transpired when we said that there was going to be a jail required? Has anything changed on that? And I know it was originally 70 to 100 million. I'm just wondering, with the double-digit inflation coming down the pike and supply shortages, that's probably going to be, substantially more. And if we can't, do we have the money to pay for it? If we not, do we borrow? If we have to borrow, what kind of interest rates are we going to pay? And my final question is, how can the taxpayers be assured that the same shoddy workmanship or design does not happen again? Because I understand that's what happened with our old jail, that from the very beginning it was a problem. One last item, and that is there is an investment review quarterly, and I noticed that as of 9/30, there was 9/30/22, cash and securities were $425 million. That number, as of 12/31/18, was $276 million. That means that in less than 4 years, the county government has grown, or I should say that the increase in cash and securities maintained by the county has grown by $148 million, which is almost 54%. It harkens back to Ron Young's statement, his final statement, when he said that the two top priorities of government is to grow and to protect itself. And when I see these kind of numbers, I say, boy, we've got, our government continues to grow, and I'm worried about the seniors' inability to remain in their houses with being priced out of their homes, and being unable to pay for gasoline, being unable to pay for food that continues to skyrocket. Something's out of whack. So I'm sorry that I've probably been all over the ballpark, with this, but that's my comments for today.
Very good, gentlemen. Anything you want to add to that? Okay, thank you. I do have the sheriff and Jason in the audience. I know we've been trying to keep updates regarding our public safety facility. I don't know if there's anything you want to add, but to your question about land acquisition, that was always a first look site. I know we've looked at other opportunities to see what could be gleaned from that, of what efficiencies, what cost savings, and those lessons I believe are being brought forward to look at that current site across the street from where the current jail is located. As far as the workmanship and the design, I can gosh darn guarantee you under my watch this will not happen. I will tell you, I was working for the county when that building was built. It was appalling the way it was handled. The people of the day should be ashamed of themselves for what they did. I can't be more critical of it. The building was obsolete the day we took possession of it. It's been a maintenance nightmare ever since. And I think I might have jinxed myself when I was talking to my old boss, Paul Stefanko, back in the day and saying, boy, I wouldn't want to be the leaders in the future that have to deal with this. He's still here, and now I'm sitting here as a commissioner. So,
okay.
Good golly, be careful what you say, because 20, 30 years later, you might wind up being that guy that has to deal with it. That building has been a problem, and it is a testament to the quality of the people working in that building that we're able to achieve the high results that we are and meet the state standards. But that is not a reflection of the building. It is a reflection of the quality of the people providing the services. So I want to make that very clear distinction. So unless there's something that you gentlemen want to add, I think that's a good off the... Jason, anything you want to add, sir? Jason Boyd, County Administrator.
Yeah, just briefly, and I should have given an update. The Sheriff's Office, myself, we're continuing to look at kind of the program itself, which is the building blocks, the stacking and programming on the right size, the right number of beds, and that's in the Sheriff's world. We had a number that's been reduced a little bit. Long story short, we're still analyzing that first program and spacing analysis with the goal of having a public presentation in this room, hopefully in the next few weeks. But the sheriff and his team are doing a heck of a job on getting it right size, but yet not short-sighted for the future as far as the sizing. I've learned a ton the past 6 months on the difference between a true hardened cell and what we really have in there today with the substance abuse, mental health, and what type of housing and treatment do they need. I know this building is going to look a heck of a lot different than the one we have today. It's in the secure side. The lack of conference room space and storage that I knew was inherently a problem, but when I saw the square footage and the lack thereof, so we are fine-tuning what that looks like now. Obviously, then we can be able to get a price off of those, and I think in the next 3-4 weeks, we'd like to have all that bundled up and have a presentation here, have the HOK, the team that's doing the analysis here, answer questions from the commissioners and so on. So that's my update on that particular project.
And Jason, while you're at the microphone, one of the things that I've been emphasizing is future-proofing the building. We don't know what the future is going to look like, but building in flexibility to be able to adapt to future needs is critical, as we've seen over the last 30 years. I also want to say that this building, when it was created, was an incarceration model. It had very little to do with rehabilitation and reduction of recidivism. It was all about incarceration. And again, the sheriff's credit, they have done a tremendous job of trying to do the best they can with what they were given to work with.
Yeah.
Jason, I don't know if you want to add to that. But
no, that's good. And as far as financing, the sheriff and I, Chief Izzo, exchanged some notes with Director Matus yesterday. At House Bill, I think it's 687, Sheriff, is another $50 million that's going to be coming available. Clearly in the state of Ohio, that's less than a drop in the bucket, but I think we have a heck of a story to tell. So I spent most of my day yesterday plowing through that document. I sent a draft to the sheriff and his team There's a big push from CCAO, County Commissioners Association of Ohio, that every county who needs a jail, and it's well over half, to get an application in to the state of Ohio, because it truly is an issue throughout the state, and the financing, the construction cost, the labor cost, it's more than $50 million, so we're going to need and/or greatly appreciate assistance from Columbus over the long term on how we finance public safety facilities throughout the state. So, thank you.
And adding on that, if I may, the state is using Lake County as a model for the language and the detail of the reporting. When they were collecting data as to what the needs are, Lake County was one of the premier counties that actually had the data.
Mm-hmm.
They had the information. It was clear, concise. The numbers, to Jason's point, it is a drop in the bucket what the state is offering. But we are exhaustively looking for every funding source that's out there. I know my colleague Commissioner Plechnik has been one of the champions of, hey, let's make sure we exhaust all possible revenue sources before we look inside. And we are beating every bush to see what's out there. Jason?
And just some things that I've learned just from the program and how the sheriff operates that jail. I think when you open the jail, Sheriff, we had 10-ish female inmates. Today, we routinely have over 100 female inmates. In 1990, 2/3 of the inmates had misdemeanors. I think today it's 2/3 felons. So just from an operational challenge and what the sheriff, Captain Brooks, go through over there, that building wasn't designed for that, nor does it have the flexibility to pivot on the fly, and that's going to be a big goal in the design process, and not to mention mental health. The medical clinic that the sheriff deals with is ridiculously small. The kitchen's ridiculously small. Just a lot of things operationally that his staff deserves, to have a better working environment. So those sorts of things, not only the hardened cells, but the mental health, the substance abuse, all those sorts of things. Flexibility is going to be key. And, once we have everything you kind of finalized in the sheriff's purview, then we'll have that public presentation.
Well said. Thank you. Gentlemen, anything else you want to add? All right. Well, if there's nothing further to add, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today. This meeting stands adjourned.